Hey everyone, welcome to my Facebook Live. I'm just getting over a little bit of the flu, so I may sound a little rough here, but I wanted to connect in with you guys and talk today a little bit about animal reincarnation and how to find our animal companions once they have reincarnated, because this is something I get asked so often. And I was just talking to my students in my animal energy certification training program, to one of them in particular, about this, because she has been asking, hey, thanks for the thumbs up, lots of hearts and love to you guys. One of my students had been asking me about how to connect, and find a kitty that had crossed over and she was expecting to reincarnate. So first of all, I want to share that we're going to talk about reincarnation, but I also want to qualify it with animal communication, and the work that I do is not dependent on you believing in reincarnation. Okay, so whatever your beliefs are is fine with me. You don't have to change them to be a part of any of what I'm talking about. But if you do believe in it and you're looking for an animal, or you're just curious as to whether or not they can reincarnate, this is for you. And hi, Cindy. Thanks for saying hi. Leave me some comments and say hello in the comment box and give me some hearts so I know you're there. So, excuse me, I'm getting over the flu I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So I may be coughing a bit, but anyways, so I want you to let me know, number one, if you've ever had an animal companion that you feel has reincarnated back to you. Hi, Julie. And also, if you have an animal companion that has crossed over, but you feel may be on, you're hoping that he or she comes back to you, or they are going to, they just haven't come back yet, or whatever. So anyways, there's a couple of things you can do, and it's not carved in stone the way you may think it is, and that's really important for me to, that's an important point for me to make. So when an animal crosses over, they can come back to you at, they have that ability. They have the ability to come back as the same species, a different species, the same sex, a different sex. I truly believe that animals can change species during reincarnation. And I've been doing this since the early 90s, and I've talked to thousands and thousands of animals and taught courses solidly since the early 90s. So I feel like I have a pretty good benchmark to go by. I was doing this long before some people you may see on the internet who say reincarnation isn't possible, animals can't come back to us, or animals can't come back to us as a different species or anything. So, and someone's saying, I was told by Sylvia Brown that they didn't come back, they wait for you up there. So, and that is so not true in my experience. And I mean, this is what I do for a living. I believe that, and I'm not going to say that that's 100% wrong, because once they become a non-physical being, they can kind of be in 100 or 1,000 places at one time. The way things work up there, and up there is really the wrong term, because it's just they're just across the veil. They're all around us. Is so different than the way it works on the physical plane. And sometimes if we try to use our human physical brains to try to figure something out that's like the divine, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it's hard to understand, get our brains into that place. But I know they have. I've been connected with, I've been spoken to by so many animals, like I said, over the years. So anyhow, a couple of things I want to share is, number one, if you have an animal companion that's crossed over and you've had a communication with them that they do indeed want to return to another lifetime with you, then that's a good start. You could have had a communication with them yourself. You could have had a communication with an animal communicator. If you don't have a communicator, we have myself, and we have senior communicators on staff. So you can always connect in with the souls of animals that have crossed to find out what they want to do. When my Jigs, my golden retriever, who's literally between him and Lucero, my spirit guide, who's a horse, and I call him an ascended master of the equine realm, between the two of them, they kind of run what I do in my business. They helped me develop my programs, etc. And neither one of those was coming back right now. But Lucero had been with me in probably 3 lifetimes of mine prior to this. So, but when Jigs was getting ready to cross in 2007, I had been practicing already for over 10 years. I'd been practicing for like 13 or more years professionally as an animal communicator, specializing in the death, dying, and afterlife process. Not by choice, it was who I was meant to be here on this earth, and I just started fulfilling that mission. So basically, once you know an animal is wanting to return to you, what's really important for you to decide, because they will work with you and your desires. So what's really important for you to decide is, do you want them to come back as the same species? And if so, do you want them to come back as the same breed? Do you want them to come back as the same sex? And when would you ideally like them to come back? I know that sounds like you're calling the shots and making, and setting all the parameters, but that's exactly how it works. They will work with you. So I'm not saying it's going to be to a T, but let's say you had a German Shepherd who you loved dearly and crossed over. And let's say you were 60 or something. I'm 57, so I'm getting up there. And you decided that maybe a German Shepherd at this stage in your life was a bit too much for you. They're big dogs. They require a lot. Training a young puppy could be a lot of work for you. And you decide you want something tiny. So you could ask your German Shepherd to please come back and you can name the breed. You might want it to come back as a toy dog or a small dog or whatever it is, maybe even a cat. I would bet money that your German Shepherd would be willing to come back as what you are wanting him or her to come back as in this lifetime. So what's really important is you set the parameters that you would like best. Lots of hearts to you guys. Thank you for the hearts. I love them. So you set the parameters that you would like best, and you set that in motion. You put that energy, you kind of put it all into a bubble and release it to the universe, and just know that your animal companion can feel what you're releasing, what your desires are, what you want. And you can also say, I really, really love this breeder. Would you be willing to come back in a dog or a puppy through this breeder, because she's phenomenal. She's going to do this, this, and this for you and make your life so much better, and her lines are so healthy. So that is absolutely true. So when you set that ball in motion, then it's your job to kind of sit back and allow, but at the same time, take some action. Start looking around. Look at breeders. If look at the newspaper. Just look wherever you happen to see a being, or wherever you know that a being could come through. Any place where dogs or cats or whatever it is you're looking for could come through. Someone asked a question. It's hard to see these questions as they're zooming by here, but someone said, could my animal companion, my dog, be a combo of two spirits? And reincarnation and the way that the energy has accelerated so much that sometimes when an animal comes back to us, they're kind of in and out of the body. It's almost like they're sharing the body with another spirit. And it sounds a little bit, it can sound like, oh wow, how could that be? But so I think it's possible that two spirits could be coming in and out of a body for sure, in a cat or dog or whatever. And sometimes if your animal companion decides to come back to you, they may not be there 24/7, but they may be there enough to reconnect with you, for you to know that their soul and spirit live on, so that you can have an amazing ongoing relationship with them. Okay, so even if they're in that body, they can physically be in the spirit realm as well, because they can like, be in many places. Spirits and souls can be in so many more places than we can as human beings. We would love to be able to do that, but unfortunately we can't. So so that is something you want to do. Then you may look at places like, where are you going to be traveling to? Like, let's say you have a trip planned to California. Let's say you're going to San Diego. You may want to look around San Diego prior to going to see if that's where your dog might come back to you. Especially if you're going there in a way that you could actually pick the dog up and bring the dog home. Like, so if you were going by car, or if it was a small dog, if you were going by plane, and you could reserve put it in a little carrier and put it under the seat. So it's really interesting how it happens. But our job is to not just sit back and go, okay, I don't know where to find them. Our job is to go, where might a puppy come to me? And, sometimes an animal companion can come back to you and it won't even be in the soul of a brand new puppy. It might be a slightly older puppy or even a 1 or 2 year old dog. And that all happens by divine order and by soul agreement. So 2 souls make a contract. When that puppy finds you, they make the contract so that that soul that was wanting to come back to you comes back. I always say, if it's meant for you, it won't pass you by. So don't ever feel like you have so much pressure to find this soul before it ever, comes back again. You don't have to have put a lot of pressure on yourself. The animals show me that even, let's say a dog is planning to come in a certain litter. The animals show me that it's kind of like, let's say the mother dog is going to have like 5 or 6 puppies. Let's say 5 puppies. So it's kind of like there's 5 or more souls hovering around, and then at birth, those, the souls may kind of go, okay, I'm going to go with this dog or this dog. But let's say you had 4th pick and your dog had was going to choose the body that someone picked on the 2nd pick of the litter. Your dog can make an agreement. I mean, because that person may be really destined to be with another soul. And if your dog went with them, it would be, it would change the whole spiritual agreement and the soul agreement around. So I know it's kind of a complex thing. April says, we feel that a few of our dogs were deceased relatives reincarnated. Could that be true? I believe it can, and I believe that dogs can even come back as humans. I'm not asking you guys to believe that, but I truly do, and I have seen the reality of it. It doesn't happen all the time, but I have seen it. So I'll leave that up to you to if it feels right to you, it usually is right. It's like, if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, as one of my friends says. So you want to be creative, you want to look around, but you want to set some of the parameters. You want to decide what really works for you. Our animal companions have made these soul agreements with our souls prior to us both coming into this lifetime. And if they're coming back to you a second time in this lifetime, because our lives are so much longer than theirs, you can call a few of the shots and make some requests and kind of put in your order, so to speak. And then once you put in your order, start looking for it. But pretend it's like a scavenger hunt. Get creative and fun with it. And don't get too stressed out about it. And of course you can always tune in and have a communication session with us if you want to confirm something right at the end. So I hope that helps. I'll look and see what some of your questions are. Melissa says, I want my Max back. So put that out there, Melissa, and really get specific about how and when and the parameters. And I bet you any money you'll be able to create that for yourself. So if you want to learn a little bit more about this, we do have a free webinar that we run every so often, and I'm going to it's called Connect on Demand, How to Master Animal Communication. And we do, I will put a link, I'll pin in the top post a link. Because I'd love it if you would join me on the free webinar, and some of the people on this call already have been to the free webinar and are in some of my trainings. We do offer quite an amazing group of trainings if you have the desire to learn more yourself. So it has been an absolute blessing I want you to know that you do have what it takes to connect in with your animal companions. Everybody does. It's not reserved for the privileged few. And I hope that you will awaken to that magic, because it'll make your life more exciting than you could ever imagine. Abundant blessings, everyone. Hope to see you in my free webinar. Bye-bye.